Before I can really tell you anything about this bag, it occurs to me that I'm going to have to pack it and take it on a trip, right? Like, this is fine, but once we see what it'll hold, good God, that is a lot. That's impressive. There's a week's worth of clothes in here. I'm excited to see how it goes. I will head to the airport, and for you it'll be a second. For me it'll be like a week, and then we can talk about if this bag did everything that I needed it to. I had a good time, but I'd be lying, if I said I wasn't glad to be back home. But really, this is the Star. Is it worth $300? Maybe? Like, to me? Probably. Yeah. I think, like, I'm not sending it back. You know what I mean? I'm glad that I got it. It was what I needed. It did what it promised to do. So I took 4 days worth of clothes in this bag. It was Florida. It was shorts, t-shirts, things like that. So it wasn't a lot of bulky, large items. I did have enough room for all of my clothes easily. This bag has 3 different sizes to it, right? This situation is 30 liters. It does that by way of these snaps on the corners there. Unsnap, now it's 35 liters, just by undoing those snaps. This is how I used it. This is, for most airlines, standard carry-on size. Side access on both sides of the bag, which was awesome. The things that I wanted to have, like on the plane, I had this, all right? This is a little music thing. I don't know if you music people or not, but it's called Orba. You make loops with it. So I just plugged in a set of wired headphones and sat on the plane and played with music for my flight. To get to it though, I just stuck them along here. When I got on the plane, zipped that open, pulled out what I needed. It was a much smoother way to do it than if I had to unzip the main compartment and kind of get my stuff out the top that way. And there's a little quick access pocket here. It's nice, but it's that big. It goes from here to here. When I went through TSA, it was big enough to take everything in my pockets, stuff it all into there, and not have to figure out where to put things. The other thing that fit well into this, my toiletry bag, I've been told this is a large toiletry bag. It's this bag from Toomey. Doing the review on this bag, or examining my thoughts on this backpack, have made me examine the way I travel. And the thing that I like about this is that when I get where I'm going, I unzip it, I set it down, and everything I need is right there. I don't need to get where I'm going and take all the stuff out. Turns out that's the same way that I like to use my bag. You open it up, and then everything I want is right here, ready to go. And I didn't feel like I had to unpack the bag. I could just live out of it. That it turns out is the thing that I require from my bag. I'm not buying a bag, I'm buying furniture. You know what I mean? Like, that's probably the best way to explain how I'm using it. Now on this last trip, so I was there for like several days, and I didn't want to have to go to a restaurant every time I got hungry. I went to the grocery store, bought supplies so I could we had a little kitchenette in the hotel. Everything I wanted was on sale. So I bought like 2-for-1 coffee, because the coffee at the hotel is always garbage. 2-for-1 English muffins, 2-for-1 everything, So I had a whole bunch of stuff. I shot for 1 bag travel, but I ended up with a personal item on the way home. I travel a little shopping bag, a little nylon shopping bag. I just took all the extra food, threw it into that, and then this is my luggage, and then my shopping bag with my groceries. I didn't have to stuff English muffins into here. I was happy about it. It worked out well for me. And speaking of personal items, this will never be one, right? This bag, at the size it is, like I said, in this formation, it sits at 35 liters, right? And there's a zipper that runs along the bottom of it to expand it out even larger to 45 liters. That's not necessarily going to be carry-on size, but this bag has a good deal of structure to it. It's not compacting down any, and so you're not, even if you only have it half full, you're not forcing it under the seat as a personal item. Now my previous bag that I used to use, it was a pack safe, 25 liters, and it's much smaller, right? This is the 25 liter pack safe. I don't make this one either. I've had this one for probably 5-6 years now. But it's got no shape to it. It's top loading, which again, I figured out about myself. Every time I wanted into something, I had to unpack half of it, you know. One thing I experienced when I was coming back, I'm at TSA pre-check, I should say, in Orlando. And I don't know why, but they didn't have the little gray bins that you put your stuff in. So the odd feature of these straps folding in turned out to be kind of useful, because I was able to fold these in to this back panel here and not have to worry about the straps getting caught up in the rollers. Now every video I've seen has shown me this, but I don't know if it's just been idealized or what. These things did not they just pop in. No, they didn't just pop in. I had to kind of manipulate them and tuck them. It's the same pocket that the lap belt goes into. So the belt that goes around it, non-removable, fits inside the same area as the backpack straps, which then magnetically hold down in there. And each side is individual to itself. There's a seam down the middle here where this handle is, and you're simply not, it's not one massive cavity, it's two slim ones, right? So you manipulate a little bit more than you'd think. Having said all that, they do go in, right? That does happen. And then I pushed it down the rollers and it went through with no incidents at all. As for the comfort levels of the bag, I was happy enough with it, but all I was doing was parking my car and then walking into the airport and then walking out of the airport to the rental. I think whether you find the shoulder straps to be comfortable is going to be a little bit subjective anyway. Like, everybody's built differently. If you're, I don't know, a short person or a tall person, you're going to find this length to sit on your body differently. You're going to find the gap between these straps to fit everybody differently. They're a bit on the thin side. I think that is partially so that they can stuff inside of here. Yeah, the sternum strap. I put the sternum strap on mine right here, just untethered it because I didn't want the thing to be dangling around. I didn't need it, but I was happy to have it. This piece hooks into this track by going around and just clipping on. It seems insecure, but when I deliberately was taking it off to hook it up like this, I had to work to get it off. So maybe it could come off on its own, but I had to kind of fiddle with it to make it come off. The other thing that I was surprised by, there's this pocket at the bottom here, which is not an insignificant amount of space, mind you. It goes to like here and goes from seam to seam here. Held closed with these two magnets and attached to these little loops at the bottom, straps. Alright? These straps, you can rig them up all over these little loop points on the bag. And when I got it, they were attached inside of here to this thing and then just stuck inside. I didn't want to just leave it like that because I felt like these little magnets might allow this to slip down, possibly fall out. And again, for something that is just, I don't know, it's just a little loopy thing, when I was deliberately trying to unhook it, I had to work much harder than I expected to get it to finally unhook. Did I leave them in there after that experience? No. I stuck them in another zipper pocket and figure if I had to have them for some reason, I'd want to have them with me, but I wasn't taking a chance on them falling out. Maybe if there was a zipper down at this bottom pocket, I would feel a little bit more confident about leaving something in there. And it wouldn't have to be a giant chunky zipper like these main zips, but I think any zipper would instill a little bit more confidence than these two little magnets. Another good thing I had with this bag was the back panel on it. It seems unremarkable. You know, you can, these little pieces that magnetize down, you can fold those in to add more padding if you want. But the texture of this back panel, again, this could be a unique thing to my own experience, but this bag, the PackSafe, has kind of a textured panel here. And like I said, I took that bag last time I went to Scotland, and I walked all over Glasgow and Edinburgh. I was in the city, and everywhere I walked, this back panel would just slowly lift my jacket, my shirt, whatever. It just pulled it up in between the backpack and me, so I was constantly like pulling my jacket down. And that never happened with this bag, with the Peak Design bag. Again, I was wearing a puffer jacket when I got to the airport, so it was freezing cold outside, but I didn't get sweaty the whole time I was in Florida. When I was walking into the airport there and turning in my bag, walking around the airport, didn't get sweaty for that either. Like I said, straps were fine for what I was doing. Your experience might be a little different depending if you had to hike several miles to get to a destination. Maybe it would be different. I think the straps are a little, like I said, the straps are a little, they're foam, they're squishy, you think they're going to be nice, but again, I didn't load this thing to its capacity either. Oh, for some frame of reference, I'm like 5'11", about 180 centimeters. And, I don't know, 200 pounds, so like 90 kilos or 14 stone. So it comes up, like my waist is like right here, you know. It's a good size bag, but it fits a week's worth of clothes easily went into it for me. So I wear a lot of extra larges, you know, 34-inch jeans, things like that. I think maybe that's going to be relevant if you're trying to figure out what size of your clothes versus what size of my clothes are going into this, you know. I have seen some concerns online that people have about this zipper. This zipper here that opens the main compartment, right? The straps are attached to the back panel. The back panel and the front panel are kind of attached by this zip. So all of your gear, especially if you have this thing packed out to 45 liters, is kind of pulling against that zipper the whole time. It seems pretty strong to me. There may be a company called Zoom. They're not the coveted YKK zipper. If that ever becomes an issue, I don't know if it will, but if that ever becomes an issue, I'll file a claim through Peak Design's lifetime warranty. Whoever wrote the copy for the warranty on their website, they did a good job, because it really seems like the company doesn't want their product to get damaged and just thrown away. They want to help you. So if it's, well, let me show you the warranty. If any part of your Peak Design product becomes non-functioning or defective, we will repair or replace it with a fully functioning item in the same or better condition. But if something breaks due to manufacturer defect or during normal use, don't worry one bit, we're behind you all the way. I mean, that normal use, like if I fall off of a motorcycle and tumble in the street and the bag rips open, probably not their negligence, right? But if just use, the zipper unravels out of it, that's on them. I'm not the warranty department. I don't know. Your experience might be different than mine in how you communicate with them, but I would think if the bag just comes apart with normal use, like a zipper, that would be something that warranty would cover. I'm not worried about it falling apart on me. Again, it's $300. It's a $300 backpack. And I think just calling it a backpack kind of undersells it a little bit. Because I don't know about you, but when I hear backpack, I think of the satchel that I used to carry my homework back and forth in, school supplies and stuff, you know. And for that, $300 would be excessive. But this, it's luggage. You know what I mean? Like it's not just a backpack. It's not a bag. It's luggage. It's like having a suitcase or anything else. But now that suitcase has been adapted that instead of having a handle and wheels that you have to drag around with you, put it on your back. Carry it around hands-free. Not everybody needs to be hands-free. I know that. I keep going back to that, but if you want to be able to go to a destination and as you're going, be able to use that camera and take pictures and record what's going on. If you're a vlogger and you want to be able to do your thing while you're going, you don't want to have one hand occupied with a suitcase, with dragging a bag around. If you go into a beach destination or Costa Rica or somewhere that's jungle-esque, let's say, you're not going to be rolling a bag through that. You're going to be carrying it. But this lets you carry it a little easier. Maybe you're traveling with someone who's in a wheelchair and your hands are going to be occupied. This might be a good option for you. If you've got children and you've got to carry their stuff around, maybe it's easier on you if your bag is not one that you're having to occupy yourself with. You know, there's a lot. I can see a lot of situations where the hands-free aspect is beneficial. And if that's your need, then maybe $300 for a bag like this would be good for you. And maybe it'd help you out. But these are just my thoughts. I mean, we really didn't talk a lot about the laundry list of features that the bag has. If you have any of those questions, if you want to see a video about that, that's what the comment section is for. If there's something that you want to know that I didn't cover, again, ask in the comments. I will do my best to try and get an answer to you. Apart from that, I guess that's all I have to say on this one. And I'll see you next time. Cheery.